Yeah. All right, all right, all right. Good evening, graduates, families, friends, colleagues, and honored guests. I'm Javante Walters, and this is Candace McWilliams. Today, we gather to celebrate the achievements, hard work, and dedication of our graduates as they mark this significant milestone in their lives. Together, we will serve you as masters of ceremonies this evening. If you have not already done so, please silence all electronic devices. Graduates, you may be seated. It's an honor to be here in front of you guys. Graduation isn't just a culmination of years of hard work, but it's also a beginning and a stepping stone towards new opportunities, challenges, and adventures. So tonight, we celebrate you.
Welcome once again to the Capitol High graduation. Javante and I promise to keep the ceremony moving along in an orderly fashion. We would like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests, faculty members, and all those who have supported our graduates throughout their academic journey. Your guidance, encouragement, and unwavering support has played an integral role in shaping the success of our graduates, and for that, we are truly grateful. Please welcome to the stage Jesse Loeb, who passionately works with our parents and students.
Good evening to all Capitol High 2025 graduates, families, MMSD staff, and community members. Class of 2025, you did it. Woo! We are here tonight because all of you committed to your futures, and every single one of you is worth celebrating. I truly love coming into work and school every day. I look forward to opening my classroom door and waiting for what comes next. All of you graduating seniors and all of my students at Capitol brighten and color my days with a rainbow of humor, wit, and joy. One day is never the same as the next. I absolutely love my job, and I thank all of you for that. Tonight's audience comprises so many loving and supportive people, and tonight's audience also includes the beautiful children of many of our graduates here tonight. Last year, the MMSD parenting program found its new home at Capitol High. Capitol High is the only MMSD high school that has childbirth and parenting programming and education designed solely for expecting and parenting students, as well as a committed partnership with Reach Dane, the umbrella program for We Start, our amazing in-house daycare. Alongside this partnership with Reach Dane and its attentive, professional, and loving We Start staff, our young families have had the opportunity to thrive and continue their education while becoming new parents. It is a big deal to nurture and protect our tiniest and most vulnerable people. MMSD administration, our top-notch support squad, including our school nurse, social worker, school counselor, psych, family liaison, Capitol High staff, as well as all of our students, have risen to this challenge and have gone above and beyond our expectations to support this program and all the layers it takes to keep a young parenting program successful. I have learned so much from our young mothers, fathers, families, and all of our graduates over this school year. You are brilliant, funny, and unique in every single way. I loved being your teacher. Your footprints and personal stories have made me a better person, and our world is lucky to have you in its future. For those of you who know me pretty well, you know that I love comedy and making jokes. My jokes usually find embarrassing silence, but I will never give up trying to make you laugh. So from one comedian to the next, quoting one of my favorites, Maya Rudolph, if I must give any of you advice, it would be to say yes. Say yes and create your own destiny. I promised Nusi and Elijah that my glasses would not fall off during my speech, and I think I've pulled it off. That's a big feat. Congratulations, class of 2025. Miss Jessie is so very proud of all of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jessie, for your kind words. Next, please welcome Mr. Chukwu Debe to the stage.
All right, first of all, I want to start off by saying good evening, parents, families, staff, and most importantly, let's make some noise one more time for the class of 2025. It's very important to understand that today we celebrate more than high school. We celebrate the beginning of a new chapter, one where you are the author. As your principal, I've had the honor of watching you grow through challenges, celebrate victories, and most importantly, make choices every single day. From the moment you walked into our halls, and rumor has it some students are still in the hallways, okay, you were faced with choices. Some were small, such as what class to take, who to sit by at lunch, whether to study or to scroll. Okay, others were bigger, what to stand for, who to befriend, how to handle disappointment, how to show up for yourselves and others. And through all of that, you learn something powerful, that your choices shape your path. Now, as you step beyond these walls, the world will not suddenly become more certain. In fact, life after graduation is still a series of choices. But here's the good news, okay? You've been practicing all along. You'll choose what kind of friend, employee, leader, or partner you want to be. You'll choose how to respond when life doesn't go your way. You'll choose whether to play it safe or take a leap, whether to listen or react, whether to give up or keep going. And just like in high school, not every choice will be easy, and not everyone will be perfect, but you have the tools. You have the heart, and you have the experience of every step you've taken to get to this moment. So as you toss your caps and walk towards tomorrow, remember, life is not something that just happens to you, it's something you create, choice by choice, day by day. And I believe you'll keep choosing wisely. Congratulations, class of 2025, we're proud of you, and we're cheering for you every step of the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. C. At this time, we welcome our student speaker, Yasmin Murphy. Yasmin, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yasmin, I apologize. She's gonna hear me here. Huh? This one?
Hello? Y'all can hear me? All right, cool. Ooh. We ain't gonna talk about that. Good evening, everyone. Family, friends, teachers, staff, and of course, the graduating class of 2025. Today is a day we waited for, dreamed about, and at times we thought would never come. Ooh. But here we are sitting in these blue caps and gowns. Ooh. With the whole future ahead of us. And I want to start by saying this, I'm proud of every single one of you. We didn't just glide our way to this moment. It took unspeakable hard work to get here. There were late nights, early mornings, and moments of doubt, and times we thought about giving up. But we kept going. All of you sitting in those caps and gowns are proving that you're stronger than your circumstances, braver than your fears, and more capable than you even realize. We've been through so much together, from hallway jokes to last minute helping our friend with notes for a test. We held each other down. We grew up together in ways most people will never understand. And then there's our beautiful Miss Tanisha, AKA our reminder to go to class, even when we had every excuse in the book not to. Whether you listened to her or tried to sneak past her with her head down in the halls, you knew she was going to catch you, and deep down we loved her for it because she never gave up on us, even when we gave up on ourselves. We bonded over a lot of things. No, we're not gonna read that part. Beyond all the laughs, lessons, and loud bells that marked every hour of our lives, this moment is about the future. We're all headed in different directions now. Some of us are going off to college, some to the military, some straight to the work field, and some of us are still figuring out, and that's okay. Our journeys from this day forward won't look the same, but they're not supposed to. But what matters is that we try, that we keep pushing, keep believing in ourselves, and keep showing up even when it's hard. Because success isn't about titles or money or how perfect your plan is, it's about growth. It's about trying your best over and over again, even if you fail. I don't know how each of you will succeed after walking out of this theater today, and truthfully, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you do. That you find something that makes you feel and go for it with everything you've got. So here's to the ones who made it, sitting in these caps and gowns today. The ones who turned pain into power and struggle into strength. The ones who sat in these classrooms and hallways and now sit here ready for the world. To the class of 2025, thank you for being part of this chapter in my life. I'm better because I walked through these halls with you. We did it, we're here, and this is only the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you for those thoughtful words. Next to the stage is one of my biggest headaches, Ms. Tamariana Windsor, who will introduce our guest speaker.
Okay, you guys can hear me? Okay. Dr. Sagacia T. Livingston is a mother of 6 and a woman who has learned how to turn survival into strategy. Founder of Infamous Mothers, a company and movement that celebrates women who've done the impossible while carrying more than their share. Dr. Livingston attended the UW-Madison and holds degrees in English Literature and Afro-American Studies. She's the author of Infamous Mothers, COVID, The Disrespectful, Health and Wellness Journal, and A Pot to Piss In. She serves as chair of board of directors at Endobios, Wisconsin, and sits on the board of Doye, an organization that supports women entrepreneurs. She's been featured in Essence, Forbes, and Brave magazine. What matters most to her is reminding people of their power and what's possible for their lives and building spaces where they don't have to apologize for who they are. Please welcome Dr. Livingston to the stage.
thank you all for having me here tonight. It's such an honor. It's always an honor when I'm called to serve and to speak. I understand that you all could choose 1 million, gazillion, trillion other people. But whenever I am chosen, I recognize that it's a special privilege, and I don't take it lightly. I've listened to the things that other people have talked about tonight, and everybody is so bubbly and so exciting, and the conversation is just so, we did it, we made it, and I imagine that that's what it would be. And so I wanted to balance this. When I was designing this talk, I was trying to figure out, what do I believe could serve you best? You all have done it, you're here, and there's something really beautiful about setting my eyes on the future. People who are going to set out and accomplish impossible things. And I'm honored to be here with you tonight. But I want to, in my discussion with you today, I want to take you back to 1993. In 1993, Toni Morrison won the Nobel Prize in Literature. She opened her speech with the story: once upon a time, there was an old woman, blind, wise. In the version I know, the woman is a daughter of slaves, Black, American, and lives alone in a small house outside of town. Her reputation for wisdom is unmatched. To her people, she is both the law and its transgression. She is honored and feared, respected at home and laughed at in cities far away. One day, she is visited by some young people who want to challenge her. They don't believe in her wisdom, and they think they can expose her. So they stand before her and say, "Old woman, I hold in my hand a bird. Tell me, is it alive or is it dead?" She does not answer. She repeats the question. They repeat the question, trying not to laugh. But eventually she speaks, and her voice is soft but sure. "I don't know whether the bird in your hand is alive or dead," she says, "but I do know it is in your hands." When Morrison goes on to talk about how she interprets this bird, she says to her, it's language. But today, I want us to read the bird as story, your story, and I want to offer a remix. In my version, the woman isn't old, not yet. She's not outside of the town, she's in the city. She's the daughter of an addict. And the young people before her, they're not children anymore. They're on the edge of adulthood. They're you. You're crossing one of the biggest milestones, about to step into the unknown. And instead of standing around that old woman in the cabin outside of town, let's change the scenery for a little bit. Click, freeze, edit. We're not in the auditorium. We're not in the classroom. It's too soon for that. You just finished that part of your life. I'm not going to take you back there. We're not outside in the woods. That's too much nature for me. So instead, let's make this room a blend of both. Let's make it both a classroom and a campfire. Let's turn this podium into a table. Let's add a fireplace. Let's make this feel like what it really is, a rite of passage. Before you leave here tonight, let's go back to that bird in your hand. Let's talk about your story, the one they never saw coming. Let's talk about what it means to be the hero in your own life. The idea of the hero's journey is ancient. It's as old as the Bible and as old as Shakespeare. It's as old as myth itself. But in 1949, a man named Joseph Campbell gave it language. In his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, he mapped it out in 12 stages. Don't worry, we're not going through all 12 tonight. But I am going to touch a few, and I'm going to use my story to help you understand yours. And the first step for Joseph Campbell's hero's journey is the call to adventure. It doesn't always come with fireworks or applause. Sometimes it comes as discomfort, as pain, as pressure, and as the moment when everything in you says something has to change. That happened to me. I'm from the south side of Chicago. And if you know anything about that, I'm from the low end. And if you know anything about that, they're now calling it Bronzeville. And if you know anything about that, then you know I live somewhere between State and the Lake, somewhere between Ida B. Wells, somewhere between Robert Taylor Homes, somewhere between Stateway Gardens. In those places, we danced. We played the dozens. We survived. And yeah, we fought. Sometimes because we had to. And as time went on, I took that fight with me. When I got into a fancy boarding school, and it was everything I wanted and everything I needed it to be, it was a dream. But it didn't take long before someone tried me, just played in my face a little bit too much. It was my roommate. She lived just 10 blocks from where I grew up, but miles ahead in her privilege. Her mom was in a sorority, her daddy wasn't an addict, and without knowing me for 15 minutes, she made it a point to remind me, without ever saying it out loud, that I wasn't on her level. Before the weekend was out, she had said one too many times that her mama didn't want her sharing her clothes I never asked for. Finally, I snapped because I understood both what she was saying and what she wasn't saying. Before I knew it, I had dragged her across that dorm room, made sure her body touched every wall in that room, dragged her down the hall to the other side of the dorm room. It was the perfect beatdown, chef's kiss. And for a second, I stood there waiting for my street cred in the dorms. But there was no crown, there was no applause, just silence, and then the principal. We don't do that here. You can stay this time, but if you want to make it through, you're gonna have to figure out a new way to handle conflict. And then it hit me hard. There I was, standing in the thick of silence, my heart still beating, my fist still clenched, and something inside me whispering, you can't do this again, not like this. That was my first real call to adventure, not a letter in the mail, not a plane ticket to somewhere new, just a moment that said grow or lose this life here, this peace, this beauty, this chance. And it didn't turn me into a writer right away, but it cracked something open in me. I found my way to poetry, journaling, essays. Every sentence became a way to reclaim my voice, to find a power that didn't depend on fear or fist. For 4 years, I trained these hands to touch keyboards instead of people, to press words into paper instead of pain into the world, and that got me through. I didn't get expelled. I made it, fancy boarding school diploma and all, but not because I was lucky, because I answered that call. And I know some of you did too. Some of you showed up at Capitol with your own fists clenched, ready to fight teachers, students, even yourselves. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. A call showed up, and you didn't run. You said, all right, let's do this. Maybe it wasn't clean. Maybe you had to fight yourself every step of the way, but you're here. You crossed the finish line, and that means something. You didn't just graduate, you grew. And now look at you, the graduating class of 25. You did that. So now, we've crossed the stage, me and you, though in very different time periods. And listen, I pray that the kind of struggle I stepped into after graduation never finds you. But I also have to be real with you. Some of that struggle I walked straight into, not because I lacked potential, but because I didn't know how to handle what came after. Up until that point, all of my focus had been on making it to the stage, turning 18, being grown. That was the goal. That was the finish line. I didn't have much else figured out beyond that. So when the moment came and the music stopped and the cameras turned off, I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what came next, and instead of asking for help or making a plan, I let all that confusion and pressure sit in my spirit quietly. The very next day, I was mad. Not a little mad, I was big mad. I felt like the world owed me something, a parade, a trophy, a proper welcome into adulthood. At the very least, some acknowledgement of everything I had survived. But instead, you know what I got? I got a phone book that said Tracy's Red Hot Numbers. Tracy is my middle name, and let's be honest, ain't nobody printing a phone book with the name Sagacious on it. I got that, a diploma, and a $20 bill. That's all I got. And while I was proud I made it, that pride was sitting next to fear, frustration, and uncertainty. I didn't know how to name it. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't make any phone calls. I didn't map out my next move. I just let those unnamed feelings move through me quietly, and they showed up in my life as missed opportunities, poor decisions, and detours I didn't need to take. My mindset became my setback because I could have spent those days making phone calls, looking up options, writing out a plan, but I didn't. I told myself I was justified in my frustration. After all, I had applied to 17 colleges, got into 15, and couldn't go anywhere because I didn't know I was supposed to apply for financial aid. I felt my anger was justified. But the truth, the frustration that frustration was covering something deeper. It was covering that sense of powerlessness I felt. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what came next, so I did nothing. And just like that, after lobster dinners and ice skating rinks, I left a mansion full of classrooms and went right back to the south side of Chicago, back to low-income housing, back to noise and chaos, back to Chirac, back to the people I loved, but a place that I didn't quite fit into anymore. It was 1996, and I was dropped into the middle of a gang war. I was confused, bitter, angry, lost, and that question, the one that always lingers after the celebration, was starting to form. Now what? And because I didn't have an answer, you know what happened? More fights, baby after baby, relationship after relationship, depression, just different battles in the same war. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, I went to college. I finished, and the fighting still didn't stop. After 10 years of running from the call, I finally made the choice to answer. And it was another fight that led to that answer. It was with a family member, bigger than me, taller than me. The only advantage that I had was that he was legally blind, but he was angry, unstable, and deep in his addiction. My mother left me in charge of her apartment, and he didn't like that. He broke in, attacked me, pinned me to the bed. I grabbed the lamp, ready to crack him over the head, because either I was going to end up the night on the ground or he was. And so at that moment, I paused and I realized I just need to get up out of here. I needed to get out, period. That's when everything shifted. I applied to graduate school, packed up my life, and moved to Madison. I earned my master's, I started my PhD, and on the surface, it looked like I had it all together. But truthfully, I didn't choose grad school because I had a solid plan. I chose it because I just needed to go. I needed to escape. I didn't know what else to do. And school was the most respectable way to run. So yes, I crossed another threshold, but I brought all of my uncertainty with me. The work, I played in its face. The reading was heavier, the expectations were heavier, the rules were different. No charm, no finesse, no survival hustle was going to get me through this one. And the truth was, I was in over my head. But instead of quitting, I did what so many of us do when we're scared or unsure. I tried to self-destruct. I sabotaged myself. I went back home, found an ex, got pregnant again, babies 4 and 5. I stopped paying rent in campus housing. My logic was simple. If the pregnancy didn't get me kicked out, being behind on the campus rent would. Eventually, housing called me in. I walked into that office belly first, fully expecting to be dismissed. They asked, "Why are you behind on your rent?" And with all the attitude I could muster, I said, "I gave it to my drug dealing boyfriend to flip it." Silence. And then they said nothing. They said, "Okay, Sagacious, sounds like you don't need to go back to Chicago. We're putting you on a payment plan." Wait, what? See, some of y'all didn't walk to this finish line. You got dragged. You're here because someone saw something in you that you couldn't always see in yourself. They stayed late, they made calls, they made accommodations, they pulled strings. They held space for your greatness even when you tried to sabotage it. Because once all the glitter settles, and now you are here. But let me be clear, tonight isn't the end of your journey. This isn't the final destination. This is just one stop, a chapter closed, a new one waiting to be written. Because once all the glitter settles and the high from today wears off, some of you are going to hear a question that shows up quietly at first, one that won't let you rest until you finally answer it. That question is, now what? For me, at first, my now what was reactionary. It was survival, movement, noise. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't a vision. But here's what happened. Once I stopped running, once I started actually doing the work and saw that I was good at it, that I could succeed, I began to thrive. The work got good to me. The calling found me inside of the chaos. And so I say to you, let that question hit. Don't run from it. Don't silence it. Lean into it. Let it mess with you. Let it haunt you a little. Obsess over it if you need to. Because that question, that's your new fight. And the only way forward is to step into it again and again until it's no longer a question, until it becomes your quest. I want to end with 2 sections. My cousin once told me that there are 3 types of people on this planet: quitters, campers, and climbers. You all already know that you're not quitters because you're here. You already made it here. The question you have to ask yourself is, are you a camper or are you a climber right now? And everything you do from this moment will determine that. The last thing I want to talk to you about is responsibility. Every hero reaches a point where they're tested, not just by the world around them, but by the truth within them. And for me, that test came home literally. My son was a student here at Capitol High. He was supposed to be sitting where you're sitting next year. He was supposed to be walking across that stage wearing the cap and the gown, hearing his name called. But instead, he'll be doing time in state prison. Outside these school walls, he got caught up in things I can't sugarcoat, things that still break my heart, things that changed the course of his life. But just a few days before he was arrested, while he was still in the hospital, he asked me to give his principal a message. And today I want to share that message with you. He said, "Principal C, you know this isn't your fault. How can a school principal who deals with everything in school control what I do outside of school? Thank you for everything. You told me the truth every day. You checked on me. You fed us. You looked out for all of us, even the ones you weren't that close to. You believed in me. This is on me. You couldn't have done more, but thank you for believing in me." When I heard those words, my heart broke and swelled at the same time, because even in the middle of a painful, impossible moment, my son did something most people never do. He took responsibility. Not just for what he done, but for what he do, for the people who showed up, for the help that was offered, for the truth he had been given, and for the role he played in his own story. That's what it means to be tested. That's what it means to face your stuff and still choose who you want to be, even when everything around you is falling apart. And now I want to bring this back to you. Right now, in this very moment, you have 2 powerful things working in your favor: your freedom and a school that believes in you. You've got teachers, counselors, and a principal who didn't give up on you, even when others might have. When I asked your assistant principal, Dr. James, about your class, about who you are and what you're made of, this is what she said: "My babies have shown me that they can be the most loving, caring, and compassionate humans. They empathize with each other. They cheer each other on. They thrive. They just need opportunity. And once they realize what's possible, they go after it." That's the energy. That's the heart of who you are. And that's also your challenge moving forward. Because sometimes opportunity doesn't knock. Sometimes you have to kick the door in. And when it does show up, you've got to be the one who answers loudly, boldly, fully. So as you leave here tonight, let this settle deep in your spirit. You felt the call. You've crossed the thresholds. You've met the mentors. You've passed the test. Now comes the part that defines every hero's real journey. Will you take the responsibility for your choices, for your power, for your possibilities? Yes, there are systemic barriers. Yes, there are generational curses. Yes, there are circumstances that are so much bigger than you. And even with all of that stacked against you, will you take the responsibility for your story? Because if you do, if you own your story and run with it, even with your hardest chapters still being worked out in your favor, your hardest chapters will still be worked out in your favor, as long as you keep answering the call. As long as you trust that nothing is wasted, as long as you walk forward with grit and grace, you'll rise, you'll land on your feet, and you will become the hero they never saw coming. Congratulations, class of 2025.
Thank you for leaving all of our students encouraged for the future. Next, we will have a presentation of diplomas read by Aaron Beener and Marianne Mott. As a reminder, after you get your diploma, please return to your seat until all graduates have received their diplomas. At that time, your principal will confer your graduation and conclude the ceremony. We will then proceed to the reception to celebrate your accomplishments.
We ready? Seniors, are you ready? Are you starting or am I? I'm starting. Okay. We might need to wait a second.
Okay. All right, we're gonna get started. Karen Arce.
Kaya Bray.
Cody Carlin.
Abel DeWald.
Hazel Doan.
Maximilian Dimitro Fall.
Autumn Flores.
Esther Elizabeth Fruin.
Cara Halela Leilani Fruin.
Janaya Gibson.
Arshel Winter Goodwin.
Gianna Gorman.
Elijah Greer.
Olivia Jaden Grover.
Travis Samuel Harrison.
Josiah Hillman.
Ramia Simone Height.
Deverick Mark Anthony Jefferson.
Torrey Jennings.
Kiari Johnson.
Tiaja Johnson.
Shariel Denise Kimmons.
Zyrie Lofton.
It's too loud. We're going to say your name again. Just wait. One more time.
Zyrie LeVay Lofton.
Giovanna Looper.
Cherie Moore.
Terrell Moore! Terrell Moore! Tredelia Makita Morrison. Yasmina Murphy. Jonathan Muth. Nesto Fabian Navarez.
Jaden Neal.
Rodney Phillips.
Ariana Elizabeth.
Elijah Tadre Richmond.
Johan Rivera Ruiz.
Daviana Crystal Robinson.
Natasha Nakaya Naomi Scott.
Jamarion Sellers.
Christopher Parker Sims.
Soleil Smith.
Sakaya Lynn Taylor.
Jamarion Terry.
Will Anthony Theus.
Demarion Montez Tillman.
Isabella Elizabeth Volk.
Zakari Omarion Wesley.
Tamariana Windsor.
Cache Wormley. Woohoo!
All right, y'all, let's hold on, y'all. Let's go ahead and make this official. Let's make it official, okay? Just playing. All right, Superintendent, Dr. Joe Gothard. Associate Superintendent of High Schools, JFL, and MMSD Board of Education. I hereby certify, presented today, the Capitol High classes 2025 have met all the requirements for graduation as set forth in board policy and are ready to receive the high school diplomas from the Madison Metropolitan School District. It is with great pride and honor that I present to you the Capitol High Class of 2025. Please turn your tassels to the left, and congratulations, Capitol High. We're gonna